Hi guys, today I'm going to show you what build I'm currently using on my monk. There's a lot of viable monk builds out there, and they're going to change slightly depending on whether you're solo or whether you're playing in a group. As my spirit generator, I'm currently using Deadly Reach with a strike for Beyond Rune. This allows me to generate an extra 3 spirit for each enemy I critically hit when using it. Now, Deadly Reach sends out a shock in a line, which is quite a distance as well. It's the only real ranged monk attack that you've got as a spirit generator, and it also has a 50% chance to knock up enemies into the air on the third attack, which is very good for a small amount of CC and keeping enemies from attacking you. I'm currently using Lashing Tail Kick as my main spirit spender. With the spirit I'm generating from Deadly Reach, it allows me to spam it out really, and using the rune that has an 85% chance to stun all enemies for 1.5 seconds, it's great. You've got a large area of effect on Lashing Tail Kick, and the 85% chance to stun works on champs, elites, bosses, everything in the game. So you can really keep a lot of packs locked down for a long time if you manage to chain stuns together, if RNG is in your favour. Dashing Strike they changed with ROS, so it now works on a charge system. You gain 1 charge every 6 seconds, can have up to 2 charges stored at any one time, unless you're using Quicksilver, which increases it to 3. But generally you only use this rune if you're using Dashing Strike as like a mobility thing to scoot around maps or perhaps do normal bounties. I'm currently using the Barrage rune with it, which does 498% weapon damage over 2 seconds to the last enemy I strike from. The animation sort of looks like a 7-sided strike, and it doesn't do anywhere near as much damage, but it does allow you to pick off small targets. Say you've got that one stray, you can just dash for him and let him fall over behind you. I'm using Sweeping Wind with Cyclone. Cyclone has been the most powerful rune for Sweeping Wind for pretty much all the game, unless you're using like a Fire Monk build, in which you can change it up to Firestorm, which just makes it slightly larger as well, allows you to clip more enemies on and off screen. But with Cyclone and me basically using this build is sort of, it's there so you can easily transition into a Lightning Monk build. If you manage to get some decent braces or an amulet, or get the 4-piece set bonus from the Lightning Monk set, is it does allow you to transition straight into a Lightning Monk build with quite a few lightning skills. But I'm using a Cyclone at the moment because it's the most powerful, because it's also lightning damage for the reasons I just explained, and it sends off these little tornadoes which not only look great, they do a little bit of damage here and there to perhaps stray monsters as well. I'm using Epiphany. This is the new skill that was adding in ROS. When I first started using this between like 61 and 67, I wasn't too sure about it. Desert Shroud, to have that as your first rune, 50% damage reduction, I wasn't experiencing that much damage around the 61 to 63 mark in ROS, so I didn't think much of this. So at the time I think I was using 7-sided strike or Cyclone Strike. We'll talk a little bit more about Cyclone Strike in a bit. Ascendance is okay, and it's a little bit of additional lightning damage, but if you really want to put out damage, then Inner Fire would be the rune that you would use. 353% weapon damage as fire, and you get to see all these cool looking little fire monks go around if you're holding down Lashing Tail Kick. I'm currently using Desert Shroud because I've got no real other defensive capabilities with any of my skills, so I'm just using that for the 50% damage reduction in case I pull a couple of champ packs at once, or there's just that one tricky champ pack that I need to sort out. I'm using Mantra of Retribution at the moment. Now, you don't see a lot of monks actually using Mantra of Retribution, but I'll tell you why I am. With the Transgression rune, I get 10% attack speed added. Now, that 10% attack speed actually increases my DPS by 17%. You'll see a lot of monks using Mantra of Conviction with Overawe, which increases the damage enemies take by 16%. So I'm actually doing an extra 1% damage if I was using that rune. This is great for the on-use effect, I must admit, to make enemies take an extra 20% damage. But if you're using this 16% damage and the on-use only goes up to 20%, you're only getting 4% for spending 50 spirit. But we'll come on to using Chant of Resonance if you're using Mantra of Conviction or other pieces like that. Now for passive skills, there's a couple here which seem to be very cookie cutter for Monk at the moment. One with Everything is more than likely the most powerful passive in the game, or one of the most powerful passive in the game. And what it allows you to do is stack 1 elemental resistance. If you have a lot of cold resistance, arcane resistance, physical resistance on one piece of gear, say that 1 physical resistance is in the 1000 somewhere. Say you've got 1050 physical resistance, all of your other resistances are only about 200. Using one with everything will make all of your resistances to that 1050 mark. I'm using Siege the Initiative as well, which increase your arm by 30% of your dexterity. Obviously, as you level up, as you get more gear, as you find better items, your dexterity will go up, so naturally your armor will go up as well. This also allows us to not need or not use armor rolls on items as much, which allows us to get percent life or any other sort of rerolls that we can get on items without having to take the armor. Transcendence is also somewhat cookie cutter. You see quite a few monks using it, and basically this allows you to have it's life on spirit spent. So like life on hit, it sort of works the same way, but it's when you're using your spirit instead. So say you're spamming out lashing tail kicks, you're hitting with the lashing tail kicks and you're getting your life on hit, but also for all the spirit you're spending, it gives you the life back as well. There's a little thing about life on spirit spent as well, is even though it's 248 life, or it states there without any sort of modifications from the health globe healing bonus it says, is that if you have resource reduction like I do for lashing tail kick, it will no longer cost 30 spirit, it will cost 26 spirit. However, you will still get healed as if you were using 30 spirit. So it doesn't take into account resource reduction for life per spirit spent, which is great. It's only small numbers, but those small numbers can keep you alive if you accidentally pull 2 or 3 champ packs at once, which I did yesterday. I'm currently using Exalted Soul as well. I switch between 2 depending on what mantra I'm using. Exalted Soul gives me an extra 100 spirit and 2 spirit regen. And Chant of Resonance also gives me 2 spirit regen when I have a mantra learned. But the main reason I use Chant of Resonance is if I've got Mantra of Conviction, because I'm using the activation effect more, and that's reduced by 50%. Now this is very much a solo spec. You can use this in groups as well, but the one primary change I would make for groups is probably change out Epiphany or Dashing Strike perhaps for Cyclone Strike, and I would also ask your team members as to whether they would prefer using Mantra of Retribution or Mantra of Conviction, depending on how much they benefit from attack speed. So that's the monk build that I'm currently using. As I said, there's quite a few viable monk builds out there at the moment, but you can easily make the transition to a lightning monk build with the brand new set pieces, as you can see here, with a 4-piece set getting 15% more damage, and also rolling lightning skill damage on your amulet, your braces, and any other items that have that elemental. Elemental is very powerful in game at the moment, especially with lightning and thunder fury. Is the lightning damage skill increase also affects the passive on it as well. So that's the build I'm currently using at the moment, guys. Thanks very much for watching the video. If you like the video, by all means give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out my social media links, which are at the beginning, end of the video as well, and also below in the description. Thanks, guys.